Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Molson Canadian, made from Canada, and Rocky Mountain Barbecue, Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best.
I know this is tough, but the Calgary Flames at home, fair enough. Philadelphia, a big team. And when I was writing notes down about this show, I was going to go back to a couple of weeks ago when I said, you remember, this is such a soft team for letting guys stand in front of the net. And it was never more obvious than Scott Hartnell, who scored 2 huge goals.
And Jason Arnott against St. Louis Blues in front.
Exactly. There you go. There's my point. I've been saying it all year long. It's like a friggin' country club there. You could get served drinks and dinner in front of the Calgary Flames goal and you wouldn't spill a drop. I'm serious, man. Get tough.
Yeah, but they're not tough.
They aren't.
They're not tough. So you can't get tough right away with 19 games to go, whatever it is. You're not going to get tougher. I think that's what really concerns me most from what I saw with the Flames. But when they're on the road, Mike, they seem to have more of a killer instinct. They seem to have more drive, more tenacity, more in-your-face mentality, where here in Calgary, it's kind of, oh, it's a game tonight, you know. I might go out after. I don't know why I do this. What is this?
I don't know.
I don't know why I do that.
Is that what you do at home? Yeah.
Well, let's go for a walk.
I got my hand in my pants with a remote and a beer, and I'm going, honey, I need another beer.
Another beer. They look passive, don't they?
Yeah.
Brent Sutter addressed that last Friday. He said, for some reason, we don't initiate. We react. We react to what's happening in the standings. We react to the out-of-town scoreboard. We react to what the other team is doing on the ice. We're not proactive. We don't take it to them.
Yes.
We don't get pissed off and go after teams. We don't say, screw the scoreboard, screw the out-of-town games. Let's do it here. They seem to do that when they're in Anaheim and L.A. and on the road trip, San Jose, but not here. They get lackadaisical.
Maybe they're afraid. When you become afraid, you become a little too tentative.
I think it's the makeup of their leader, and that's Jarome Iginla. I think that's Jarome. I think Iginla is like that. That's his personality. That's his makeup, and it's been like that for years. So they take on the personality of the captain. Every team does. You take the leadership, the skill guy, the leader guy. That's how you perform. And Jarome, he's good, and he's not good, and that's plagued this team for years and always will. Friday, I asked this question to Brent Sutter and to Jay Feaster because they were saying our leadership group, all the same old stuff. And I said to both of them, I've been here for 28 and a half years. I've heard this crap almost every year, especially in the last 10 years. Mike Keenan, Daryl Sutter, Jim Playfair, they all said the same thing, that our group, our leadership, the same old thing. Aren't you getting tired of hearing it? And they looked at me. Feaster looked at me and says, Ken King said the same thing to me last night. I've heard this garbage before.
Yeah.
So what we're saying, Mike, we've said before, something is wrong with the Flames on occasion. They might pick it up when they go on the road this week, then they'll come down. That's the makeup of this team. I have no solution. Well, I do have a solution.
Well, yeah, it's just really tough to watch.
I promise you I wouldn't try and trade Jarome Iginla anymore. I wouldn't do that anymore.
I heard it in the timbre of your voice, Grant. But when they are sitting on a 3-0 lead, I don't care if it's Philadelphia or what, you can't just sit back, let them bring the play to you. You've got to check. You got to press.
That's okay. Okay. Sure, I agree with you. But you're an average.
Or are they just not good enough?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
You're the Philadelphia Flyers. You've got 4 good lines. You've got big, strong people coming at you. You're the St. Louis Blues. You've got 4 good lines coming at you. So you don't want to sit back, but are you good enough? Is that third line good enough to say, I'm going to fight you?
No.
Hey, Dave Backes, you're big, but I'm...
But if you watched, it was interesting to watch. First of all, Philadelphia scores more than anybody in the league. So, and the Flames are probably dead last, I would think, in shots attempted by a hockey team. Why aren't these top two lines firing everything they've got? You see them trying to make these pretty little touch passes.
In the slot.
Fire that friggin' puck. Good God, just let it rip.
Why do you and I have to tell a 36-year-old, 34-year-old veterans what to do?
Yeah.
That's what I'm always amazed at when Brent said, It's the
But they
attention.
listen to us.
It's the attention to detail. What? Does Jarome not attend to detail? I mean, come on. What's all that? So I don't understand that at all. Clearly, the Flames teams now, if you shut down Jarome Iginla's line with Jokinen and now Glenn Cross, you're going to win the game.
Sure.
And that's clearly evident in the last 5 games, Jarome Iginla has had not one goal, and in the last 2 games, no points. That is just phenomenal. You make $7.5 million a year. The buck stops with Jarome.
We'll take a short break, come back with more ways to figure out the Flames' problems. Why don't they
You're
pay us?
big, Scott Hartnell.
So, Grant, I mean, in the off-season, because I don't think the Flames are going to make the playoffs, I've already stated that, what do you do if you're Jay Feaster? I mean, here we go with this whole mentality again. Okay, we've made a ton of money.
This is Jay Feaster, though.
I know that, but, I mean, you've got some free agents. You've got Parise. You've got Suter down in...
Okay, wait, stop right there. You're Zach Parise. How many teams want Zach Parise?
Everybody.
One of the most skilled centermen who will be an unrestricted free agent this summer. You're at Calgary Flames. What can you offer him that Detroit or name a team? Name a team. Why would you come to Calgary?
You're exactly right, Grant. But they were also, we were led to believe in the play for Brad Richards. So
because of the relationship Brad Richards had with Jay Feaster from their Tampa days,
Fair enough.
I think he allowed, yes, Jay, I'm interested. Okay, yeah, $6 million. Come on. He was going to go to John Tortorella and the New York Rangers with a legitimate chance of winning a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
He made the right decision. So, yeah, were the Flames in play? I think they were in the conversation because of the relationship they had in the past. So I guess my point is, how are the Flames going to attract? And maybe that's why they don't trade Jarome Iginla, because without Jarome Iginla or Kiprusoff on this team, no free agent is even going to consider, regardless of the dollar value. So that's my concern. A lot of money comes off the table. The Flames will have lots of money to spend this summer. Guys like Sarich, and they might re-sign Jokinen, and there's a lot of money to spend. Will they be able to attract players to come here to make a difference? That remains to be seen.
The culture of an NHL franchise can change in a short period of time, or it can be prolonged like it has somewhat in Edmonton. Now, I'm just bringing up 2 Canadian franchises to put under the microscope today. The Edmonton Oilers, and they're, you know, imploding everything and building through the draft and young kids, bringing them up slowly, as opposed to Ottawa, really, Grant, this time last year,
we were writing them off.
We were writing them off.
Who's the guy we used to work with here? He said Brian Murray should be fired or something like that.
And they were the joke of the NHL. This team is a pretty impressive hockey team. Whether they do anything in the playoffs this year, but they can play. They've got a little bit of everything. And there are those people that believe bringing Bishop, the young goaltender, over from St. Louis. Yeah,
he's huge.
Yeah. But
might be 6'5".
And perhaps the best goalie in the AHL, they say. This team could be really gearing up for the future. And you see what McLean has done, and he's brought his culture over from Detroit. And so in a short period of time, Flame fans, you can turn it around.
That's
but
a great example.
You have to have the right guys doing it.
As they call them now, how many times do you hear the players being called pieces?
Yes.
You got to have the right pieces in play.
Yeah.
Ottawa had some pretty good pieces in play. However, we thought Daniel Alfredson was on his way out. You thought Jason Spezza's better days. He was just kind of a fringe player. He looks so good right now. And I think now Ottawa, with Paul McLean allowing this team to be more aggressive, Corey Clouston, the other coach there who's now back in junior hockey, one of the guys to sit back, play defensive. That culture, I think you hit the nail on the head. That culture changed quickly. They had the pieces in play, and I think Ottawa is a very good team. The environment is there to win. Edmonton is still a few pieces away, aren't
I
they?
agree. You look at the St. Louis Blues too, Grant, and when the last time they were in town, and I was watching St. Louis and what Hitchcock has done. I mean, there's another
They
candidate.
say
for
he's changed a lot
Coach
in
of the
his
Year.
approach.
But even, you know, they got some great guys that can press, and they will knock the crap out of you, knock you off the puck, and they will be in your face in their zone. But they come back into their own zone, and they've got 4 or 5 guys against 3 guys coming back.
Good point. I think that, you know, years ago, guys would stay back. Ken Hitchcock wanted the guys to stay back. Now you have to be aggressive, but isn't that where they say you have to play that 200-foot game? If you're going to be aggressive, you got to go, but you got to have the balls and the character to come back.
That separates the men from the boys.
Exactly.
Yeah, it really does.
Because so a lot of times I think coaches were concerned that teams would be aggressive offensively, and then they'd be caught on an odd man line rush because guys weren't coming back. So that's the makeup of a strong team.
So with the Flames, they don't have the right pieces, but the pieces they do have, they have to buy into the system. And so I really think right now...
The Flames, to get back to that again, are really in a bad position because do they have the pieces to move forward? I don't know, Mike.
They're still cleaning up Daryl Sutter's mess, Grant.
Daryl, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, they have. But as I said to you before, and I talked to Feaster and Brent Sutter, we say the same things, the media and the fans, same things. What's wrong? Why is this happening year after year after year? Because I don't think they've got a strong game plan from ownership down to build for the future. It's piecemeal for the present. It looks like it's been that way this season and will be again next season.